Hey everyone, and welcome to the channel. So today we're going to take a look at this 2023 GMC Sierra 1500 equipped with the AT4X package. This truck is finished off in Summit White with an MSRP just over $80,000. And this is powered by a 6.2 liter V8 paired to the 10-speed automatic transmission. This pumps out 420 horsepower, 460 pound-feet of torque. That power is primarily sent to the rear wheels. However, this truck has the four-wheel drive system as well. It weighs in right around 5,800 pounds. It'll do 0 to 60 in 5.6 seconds. It has a top speed of 100 miles an hour. And it also has a fuel capacity of 24 gallons. You'll expect to see around 14 miles per gallon in the city and 18 out on the highway. Now this also has a wheelbase of 147.5 inches. Its overall length is 232.8. It has a width of 81.2, a height of 78.7. Its ground clearance measures in at 10.7 inches. And it also has an approach angle of 25.4 degrees, a breakover angle of 22.7 degrees, and a departure angle of 25.9 degrees. As we make our way to the exterior styling now for this GMC, let's start off with the GMC badge front and center. It has a nice design to it, finished off in red with the chrome surrounding it. There's also a forward-facing camera just underneath that to provide you with that extra visibility, especially for the size of this truck. And there's some really nice trim accents throughout this grille. Plenty of cutouts to provide a lot of cooling to that engine. The AT4X badge is over on that driver's side as well. And this even has parking sensors, which are in the body colored section of the lower bumper. This even has two forward-facing tow hooks. It's interesting to note that the red is actually different from the GMC red. So interesting to see that. The rest of the lower section of the bumper is finished off in gloss black, and it also houses the LED fog lights, so those are nicely tucked away. You'll notice too there's a line separating the bumper from the upper grille there, going right through the middle, just to give it a little bit cooler of a design. And this even has functional air inlets to provide this with some better aerodynamics. And it also has LED headlights, DRLs, and turn signals. I like how the DRL and the turn signal actually separates from the headlight housing and goes into the bodywork. So it's a cool distinctive look, and the headlight housing matches nicely on each side of the grille. There's even more black on the upper section of the hood to blend in more with the grille, and some nice lines coming down the hood just to give this massive full-size truck a good beefy design. Now working our way to the side, like I said, with the AT4X package, you get these 18-inch wheels with the Goodyear all-terrain tires. The 18-inch wheels are finished off in gloss black, so it matches nicely with this white. This also provides it with the rock sliders, so you can use that as a step to enter and exit, but of course that's going to give this truck some added protection if you're taking this off the pavement. This is also equipped with a 2-inch lift kit with the Multimatic suspension, so it can definitely handle off the pavement situations and gives it that added ground clearance that you need, especially for a truck of this size. Now for the side mirrors, the top caps are finished off in gloss black. There's a spotlight. There's even a camera up underneath. I will show that camera system later. You can see the 6.2 liter V8 badge. This even has a sunroof up top. And then with the quad cab and the short bed, this has a really great design to it. For the side, there's some great lines running in the lower section too, where you'll see the AT4X badge finished off in chrome. All of the window trim is blacked out. And there's even some more lines that continue their way to the bed, where you'll notice too that the fender arches have some plastic trim for them, both in the front and the rear. And then last up, we have the massive GMC badge right in the middle of the multiflex tailgate. There's a backup camera, Sierra, another AT4X badge. The bumper is finished off in white, of course, with all the parking sensors. There's even a step on each side to make it that much easier to enter and exit the bed. And this even has a towing capacity right around 9,600 pounds. Pretty respectable for this engine, along with the suspension that this truck does offer. So let's make our way to this multiflex tailgate along with the cargo space. Now I can use the button on the key fob. If I double tap that, the entire tailgate will lower down, where you'll notice that this has the entire spray and bed liner to give this the protection that you need. There's tie down hooks in several areas. There's also a handle over on this driver's side. So if I lock that into place, you can use that along with this step over on the driver's side to easily enter and exit from that side, but you can also use it when you use the step in the middle. So if I push on the upper button that's on the tailgate, I can also lower the step down, and now you have a really easy way to enter and exit this truck. So if you're using this truck every single day, even without grabbing the handle, it makes it that much easier. So that way you're not constantly jumping in and out of the truck. And you'll notice too that this GMC is equipped with the Kicker audio sound system for this tailgate. So we have speakers, we have some auxiliary hookups. You can Bluetooth pair your phone to the system and listen to music when you're hanging out at the back of your GMC Sierra. From here, I can easily close that step, and then you do have to use 2 hands in order to close that. And then from there, I can easily lift up this tailgate and lock it into place. Now the button that I used earlier was this top button. So if I push on that again, you will see just the upper section now go down instead of the entire lift gate. And then from there, I can further open up this step where now you have a little bit longer of an interior bed. So if you have some longer wood, any items that you don't want to slide out, and you can close the tailgate and have that up. It's a really cool extension basically for this truck, but you can also use this as a workbench too. So you have that. I'm 5'10", this is about chest high for me. So it's a nice little bench that you can use if you need to do that, and it's very lightweight, so that's easy to close too. And then before we take a look at the interior, this truck does have remote start. So if I lock it and then double tap this button, it will automatically start up, which is a really cool feature to have. Now what's interesting is you don't actually double tap it to shut it off. So if I just hold on this button, it will shut off. It doesn't show you that, but pretty cool to see. From there I can unlock it. And then taking a look at this interior now, you'll see that the door panel has a really nice design to it. There's black leather, really cool design in this pattern just behind the release handle with some wood trim and some black trim just above that. This also has the Bose audio sound system. You'll see 2 speakers in the door with some more of that trim surrounding it. A lot of storage space in the lower section of the door. And then working our way to this interior with the black leather seats, there's more of the red, there's white piping. They have a really nice design to them. What I love about the back seats for the Sierra is you can actually lift up the bottoms and do that on both sides. They will easily lock into place, where you can see there's a small divider, so you can put some items on the right side, some larger items on this left side if needed. And then with a good pull, you can put this seat all the way down, and now you actually have a little bit of storage space behind the backrest. So you can open this up where you can gain a little bit of access if you need to. Now the backs do not fold down, so that gives you that little bit of storage that you need on both sides. And at 5'10", I'll make my way into the back seat, where you could use this rock slider as a step if you needed to. There's a grab handle that you can easily reach to. And with the front seat set at my height, I have plenty of room for my feet and my legs. There's a storage pocket behind both front seats. 2 cup holders right in the middle. These are even heated seats too, so you have those along with the air vents and some auxiliaries so you can charge electronics as needed. And again, at 5'10", I have around 3 or 4 inches above my head. This is a full-size truck, so you would expect full-size adults to fit in the back. You can notice that this has Alcantara for the headliner, pretty cool to see. So definitely a lot of room for 3 people to be in the back. And then right in the middle, there is the armrest. If I pull this down, there's 2 cup holders and a little bit of storage in there if you need to use it. Now this also has an electronic sliding rear glass, so you can open and close it as needed. There's also plenty of visibility. You can even fold these headrests down, so if you don't have backseat passengers, gives you a little bit better visibility. Really no blind spots even for this massive truck. And you'll notice too that there's a combination of carpet and the all-weather floor mats for the backseat passengers. Now as we work our way to the front door, this door panel's finished off just like the rear. However, there's the addition of the AT4X badge, all the window controls, side mirror adjustments, which are power folding. There's all the memory seating adjustments, lock and unlock, even more of that trim, which gives it a fantastic look. There's a large Bose audio speaker, plenty of storage in the lower section of that door. And then for these leather seats up front, pretty similar to the rears. However, there's the badge, more of the white piping. These are heated and ventilated. All the automatic controls are down on the side, along with the massaging function. So this pickup truck has massaging front seats. You'll notice more of the badging down in the footwell. And then it's just as easy to enter the front seats, again, being able to use that rock slider if needed, but there's also a grab handle in all 4 corners. So that is very nice to see. Now looking at the steering wheel, it's completely covered in solid black leather. There's red stitching on the inside of it. Let's fire this GMC up though. With my foot on the brake, that massive brushed aluminum button is on this right side, and we can bring this to life. And on this gauge cluster, on the left side is the speedometer along with the engine temperature. On the right side is the tach. You'll also notice some other vitals, battery voltage. The fuel gauge is also down in the lower section too. And right in the middle, currently it's showing the miles per hour. You can go through more of that info using these dials over on the right side of the steering wheel, where you'll notice the Bluetooth and voice commands. Over on this left side is the cruise and adaptive cruise control settings along with the heated steering wheel. So if I scroll down, now we can view the drive summary, so you can monitor all of that information like trip 1 and trip 2. You can even look at a timer. There's the TPMS that you can monitor along with the driver assistance. And then there's some various vitals just to keep an eye on, so you can quickly get to those as needed. There's a blank page too. And then if I scroll over, we can pull up the music, look at the compass, even look at your phone when you have that paired. And then you can also change this layout just depending on what you'd like to see. So as you can see everything being highlighted right now, you can actually go into that and either make it larger or smaller, just depending on how you'd like to view it, or you can actually change what you'd like to see on the left or the right side. So it's very configurable as far as that goes. If I go to the display layout and we go into progressive, you will see the entire digital gauge cluster change slightly, just depending on if you like to view it that way. There's also a third one we can go into for digital. And then for the clean setting, everything pretty much goes away to where you just see the miles per hour. So it's nice to have all of that for this digital layout. And that is it for that center screen. Now this also has steering wheel mounted paddle shifters, but what I love about GMC is they actually have a split design. So underneath that on that right side is volume for the radio. Over on the left side is tuning. So you have that design where you can still shift if you need to and then control the audio as needed. Now over on this left side, there's the electronic parking brake along with all of the four-wheel drive selectors. There's even different modes that you can go into. So by twisting that dial, you can see terrain. There's also off-road and normal. So just depending on where you're going, there's even a trailering system as well. And then we have all the headlight and fog light adjustments, dimmer switches for the gauges. There's a bed in the cargo area too, so you can turn that on and off as needed. And then this even has heads-up display with all those controls, so you can monitor your speed limit sign along with how fast you're going and view all of that information. It might be hard to see on camera there as I bring that into focus. Also over on the left side, there's one air vent with more of that trim. The entire dash is covered in leather with more of that stitching. Two air vents are just underneath that. And then for this massive 13-inch screen, this is fairly new for the GMC Sierra. It has a lot to go through. You'll see on this left side, if I push on the home icon, that will pull up all these icons like audio and map. You can go into phone, all the camera systems, even swipe over, go into the trailering system. You have the climates and some other settings that you can go into. And you'll notice over on this right side, you can tell that this has been a split screen. So it was showing the clock the whole time. There's also a trailering system you can go into along with the audio. And you can even pull up the Google Maps. So I like how it has that split design to it. But if we go back to home here and we click on maps, we can pull this up in full screen. So you'll see that right side disappear, which is nice to have for those graphics. It will pop back up. On this left side, you can even configure all of these. So currently this has the trailering system. So if this had a trailer hooked up, you could go through all this information. If I push on these circles just underneath that, that's basically for the voice commands that you can put in. And as you can tell, it's hearing what I'm saying right now. Underneath that, we have the phone icon. When you have your phone paired, we can pull up the map again. You have music to go into, and then a button for home is actually on the screen. So it's not really configurable that much, but you have a lot of usable information, which is nice. Now, if we go into the climates and we turn these on, you can go through all of this on the screen itself, or you can use the dials down below, which I'll come back to. So it's nice to have that. There's also power and volume for the radio on that right side. So as we come back to all of the climates, you have a lot of information to go through. Like I mentioned earlier, there's the heated and ventilated seats. We have on-off right in the middle, temperature for your driver and passenger, all of the recircs, where you'd like the air to go. You can sync everything too, so it's laid out very nicely. We have that massive engine start-stop button over on that left side. And then for the toggles just underneath that, this has the lane keeping assist, along with the parking sensors, the engine start-stop. You can actually deploy the tailgate if you need to from the interior. There's the hazards, traction control, the downhill assist control. This is even equipped with front and rear lockers. So you can lock just the rear or the front and the rear together. And then underneath that is a large area where you could place some items if you need to. There's even some auxiliaries, so you could charge them. There's two cup holders on the far right side, a little bit of storage right in the middle. And then looking at this shifter with my foot on the brake, the release is on this left side. So if I put this truck into reverse, Now we have that 3D camera system that I mentioned earlier. There are a ton of views just depending on what you'd like to see. If you're off-road as well, you can even see your front wheels there, so you can avoid rocks, potholes, whatever it may be. And you have a lot of different guidelines that you can go through. So it's pretty cool to see that. Now, if you do have a trailer hooked up, you can even monitor the trailer system, which is cool to see. There's a few blanks there because I don't have a trailer hooked up at the moment. So you have a lot of visibility, including that forward-facing camera. And then also, if you're in drive and you pull on this one more time, that goes into the low range gear. That allows you to use these steering wheel mounted paddle shifters if you need to. So if you're off-road or you're towing, you can use those as needed. There's also a trailer braking system just behind that. And you'll notice too that the wireless charging pad is right in front of the center armrest, which has more of that pattern that you saw on the door. If I open this up, you get a little bit better access to that if you need to grab your phone. And then underneath the armrest is a lot of storage in this removable tray. And then you have a massive amount of room with some more auxiliaries, so you can place any information that you need to. And then over on the passenger side, there's actually 2 glove boxes. So if I push on this button here, you have a little bit of storage. It's not the most convenient, but you can definitely put in some smaller items. And then of course you have the glove box for all of your larger items. We'll take another look at this interior. Very, very nice for this Sierra. Like I mentioned earlier, this does have a sunroof, so there's the manual adjusting sunshade, which you can open and close. To further open up and tilt the sunroof, those dials are right in the middle. There's also some garage door buttons. There's the OnStar buttons, even the dome lights on both sides. And this truck even has a camera on the back side of the cab. So as you can tell, this is the traditional view for the rear view mirror. And then if you use that camera system, pretty much all of your visibility goes away. So it's very nice to have that incorporated into this full-size truck. Right, so as we get behind the wheel now for this GMC Sierra, this is actually the second Sierra that we've had for a week. So I've had a lot of seat time behind the wheel of this exact truck, along with the Chevrolet Silverado ZR2, which is fairly similar to this. They are slightly different, but it's a very similar truck. So I have a lot of seat time behind the wheel, so I'm very comfortable with how this rides and drives, as well as how capable this is for a full-size truck. Now in the other Sierra that we had, we actually used the bed a lot. We had some beds that we moved in it. We put in a lot of other items, and it was very, very practical to have. We put in some plywood, some larger wood that a smaller truck like my Tacoma might have a little bit of issues with, because this bed is so large even for being the shorter bed. And it's also a very comfortable truck to drive. What I love about this truck is that you can drive this every single day, and it gives you everything that you need to make this a great daily driver. Even if you're not using it for the truck purposes and you're just going somewhere, it just gives you that relaxed feeling. We even have the massaging seats, which I didn't really show in detail, so hopefully my camera can pick that up. What I don't like about the functions for the massaging seats is that you have to use this button on the side. This is not a touchscreen system when they pop up. I think that for the size of the screen, you should be able to use that screen instead of the dial. It's easy to use the dial once you figure it out and get used to it. And I love how the massaging seats work, but it's very interesting that it's not a touchscreen system. Super quiet. The suspension absorbs all these bumps very well at the same time. The suspension is geared a little bit more towards off-roading, which is why the towing is a little bit less, but it's still going to provide you the best of both worlds. And if that's all you need to tow, you have a great truck to do that. And here we go. Now the paddles aren't quite as responsive as you would think, I guess, but for a pickup truck, you don't really need the paddles. It's mainly to hold the gear if you're towing, if you need to downshift while you're towing, if you're off-road or some situation like that. It definitely gives you what you need to do that, to get the truck up and moving. And as we switch over to the POV angle, you can see what it's like to be behind the wheel for this all-new Sierra. Definitely gives you that luxury vibe. For a pickup truck, it's pretty great to have that with the size of the screens and just all of the materials, all the features, and hopefully you can tell just how quiet this is. Now we do have the different tires, a little bit more all-terrain, but have some knobs to them. You can slightly hear the tires. It's nothing too crazy, especially for a factory vehicle. And I don't think the camera can pick it up, but there's a hint of tire noise, which would be expected with the tires, of course, that come on this. But I wouldn't let that deter you from buying this. If you're looking for this truck, of course, you're going to want tires like that. So we are going to give this another acceleration so you can see that from this angle. As far as visibility goes, very, very easy to see. And as we go around a right turn as well, here we go. And surprisingly, for a massive truck, even taking that turn, it felt pretty good, pretty solid for a pickup truck. And it's great if you need this amount of interior space as well. Full-size truck, full-size adults can fit in this. You have 4 other seats here available for the whole crew to join you, along with whatever you need to place in the bed. It's a pretty good truck if you're in the market for something like this. And I think that is going to wrap it up for this 2023 GMC Sierra 1500 with the AT4X package. I hope you enjoyed today's review. If you did, give it a huge thumbs up. Consider smashing that subscribe button so you don't miss out on our daily uploads. And I will see you all in the next video.